Zhuangzi's Fables and Their Wisdom, Module 1, Introduction. Lesson 5, The Ideal Life of Zhuangzi. Fable 1, The Ambition of Kun Peng. As we've discussed previously, Zhuangzi's fables are narrative, indirect, and polysemic. In this lesson, we try to dig into Zhuangzi's thoughts, presented within his writings. 3 fables are specifically chosen to illustrate Zhuangzi's ideal way of life.
To understand Zhuangzi thought through the book Zhuangzi, you have to understand the time that Zhuangzhou and I lived in, namely the middle of the Warring States period. That was a period of time with its many thinkers in various schools. They were all presenting and arguing for their ideal way, namely Tao, through debates and arguments. Zhuangzhou held a very grand and flexible mind by referring to many of the ideas from the different schools in his fables.
The ambition of Kun Peng, which is also known as a fish in the Northern Ocean. Indeed, Kun Peng is a combination of fish and bird. It is originally a giant fish, for example, kun, and then it transforms into a giant bird, peng.
That's right. The giant kun fish lives in the Northern Ocean. Kun's body is thousands of miles long. It then transforms into a bird with the name of Peng, whose back is also thousands of miles long. That's why it is called Kun Peng. When this giant Peng bird wakes up and takes flight, its wings are like clouds all over the sky. When the ocean moves with the great wind, it is the time for the giant Peng bird to start flying to the Southern Ocean.
I'm Kun Peng. I'm huge, and I'm the kind of solitary creature that prefers to keep to myself. And people consider that I also have tremendous magic power to survive with little to no energy for a very long time.
The Southern Ocean is also called the Pool of Heaven, and the Kun Peng only rests there after flying for 6 months. I know there's some implied meaning in this seemingly impossible flight.
It is about the accumulation of all that makes you stronger. As for the ocean, if it is not great enough, it won't have the strength to support a large boat. As for the wind, if it is not great enough, it will not have the strength to support the great wings. It is all about accumulation.
Indeed, Kun Pengs, which are also known as the Peng birds, are a species of magical beasts that originated from China. And now they are gradually recognized globally. The fish bird transformation of Kun Peng is said to be the central myth in the book Zhuangzi. The true sage in Zhuangzi's mind is compared to the enormous bird, which is also seen as soaring above the restricted viewpoints of the worldly. In this fable, the Kun Peng does not realize its great potential as a giant fish, but it prepares himself, undergoes a great change, and one day, when the winds of opportunities blow, it is able to soar up to greater heights. When it is a huge fish, it makes use of the great ocean. When it is a giant bird, it makes full use of the great wind. Thus, it seems to be able to bear the blue sky on its back and succeed in flying its way to the south. That's amazing! It is more than a legendary flight. It is indeed a symbolic of everyday life, which encourages you and I to commit ourselves to a fundamental change and soar to the greater heights. This is the end of this fable. Fable 2, The Happiness of the Little Sparrow. We have talked about the giant bird that is the Kun Peng in the previous lesson. And in this lesson, we will have a story of a small sparrow. Just like what we have also mentioned, the book of Zhuangzi demonstrates the philosophy of everyone. This small sparrow is somehow even more similar to you and I, who have small happiness in ordinary life.
Having heard of the flight of the giant pung bird, a little sparrow feels ridiculous.
I make an effort and just barely reach the branches of the tree. I even fail now and then. Why should I bother about making that long journey to the south? Is it my fault to be satisfied with my small happiness? There are no identical snowflakes in the world. It is indeed mission impossible to make a little sparrow fly to the south.
Everyone will encounter his or her limitation. The mushroom that just survives until sunrise does not know what takes place between the beginning and end of a month. The cicada that only lives on the ground for the summer does not know what takes place between the spring and autumn. This is the limitation of time. It is not the fault of the mushroom or the cicada.
So it is the same for the little sparrow. There is the inevitable difference between the small and the great. We don't have to look down upon the little sparrow due to its smallness, nor envy the giant pung bird for its greatness. Everyone has something he or she is good at. Everyone has something to offer. We have a responsibility to ourselves to discover what that is. This is what Barack Obama has defined as the purpose of education. This is the end of this fable. Fable 3. Weizhi, being a minister of the state in Liang. Previously, we have talked about the equal respect for the giant pung bird and the little sparrow. Sometimes we are so different that we find it extremely difficult to understand people from their own perspective.
That's absolutely true. Even though I am Zhuangzi's best friend, we have quarrels and misunderstandings too.
I know. That's the story, Zhuangzi being a minister of state of Liang. Indeed, Liang was the capital of the state of Wei, so Wei was also called Liang.
The story is a bit embarrassing for me. It's a story between Zhuangzi and I, which is metaphorically depicted as a short story between the young phoenix and the owl. The fable begins when I became the minister of the state in Liang. I was told that Zhuangzi had a specific purpose for coming to see me. He wanted to replace me as the prime minister. This made me very angry, and I had to take action by preparing all possible defenses. I couldn't just let it happen.
So you ordered a search for strangers all over the kingdom that lasted 3 days and 3 nights.
I did. I had thought that Zhuangzi would become intimidated by my action.
But he didn't, and he came and met you in person.
And he told me the story between the young phoenix and the owl.
There is a bird in the south called the young phoenix. Have you ever heard of it? Starting from the South Sea, it flies all the way to the north. It never rests except on the wutong tree, which is a traditional Chinese tree grown specifically for the phoenix, and it never eats except for the fruits of flourishing bamboos, and it never drinks except for the purest springs. During the journey, the phoenix passed by an owl, which had just caught a dead rat. The owl thought the young phoenix was coming to fight for the rat. It looked up to the phoenix and gave an angry scream. Weizhi, did you actually plan to frighten me with a similar scream in the kingdom of Liang?
Zhuangzi's talk is metaphoric. Taken together with the previous 2 stories, we can better understand Zhuangzi's ultimate ideal of the Tao. Zhuangzi employs the young phoenix to illustrate that he is well above the pursuit of material success, including fame and wealth. Instead, he is as carefree as an ideal Taoist sage, and the most precious way of living is similar to that of the young phoenix, the ideal and the divine Zhuangzian way of being. This is the end of this fable. Thank you for watching.